Okay, friends. Hi, Doc South here with yet another tale. Tomorrow, I guess, is Super Bowl Sunday, right? Yeah, we've got another one coming. I'll tell you the truth, I'm not too sure who's in it. Well, I'm always so darn busy. Uh, I have no idea. I'll, I'll find out tomorrow. I think I'll get a chance to watch it. I got to work a little bit first, but I should get there before the second quarter, I think, to where I'm going to watch it over at my brother's house. But I was just thinking how, and I was wondering, gee, do I have anything I could do for a Super Bowl story? And I thought, yeah, I do. I do. It's an interesting story, and I think you'll find it to be a shining example of the true power of the Super Bowl and its power to heal. Yes. Okay. Well, here you go. Let's see. It would have been back in 1979. That would have been when, I think it was the Dallas Cowboys against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Super Bowl 13, I believe. And I was living down in North Carolina, actually Wilson, North Carolina. I moved down there from the north and became a damn Yankee. They don't so much mind Yankees down there as long as they're just passing through. But a guy who stays, yeah, that's a damn Yankee, and that's what I did. It turns out actually I had gone through earlier the prior year. Let's see, that would have been in late '78. I went through a godforsaken divorce. Oh my heavens, it was rough, and and not casting blame on on anyone. It was tough, and was quite quite hurtful and miserable. And I thought, well, moving down south. I remember my father telling me, he says, "Why don't you just move to somewhere else and kind of start fresh?" And I said, "Well, yeah, maybe." And that's what I did. I moved into the Carolinas, and it couldn't have been a better idea for any guy or gal going through a divorce. I would suggest highly you move to the Carolinas, as close as you can to the ocean. Although they're not so bad out in the mountains either. In fact, maybe even better. Who knows? But the Carolinians are just what the doctor ordered. So I moved down to the city of, it was Wilson, North Carolina. And and I was pretty much alone. I didn't know. I moved down sometime around Thanksgiving. Didn't have a friend in the town. I had a job. I had some acquaintances from the job, but other than that, it was pretty slim pickings. Social life was a dud. And I was I was kind of green yet from, again, what I had been through. So probably wasn't a good time for me to be finding girlfriends and stuff. But I got to thinking one day how I had always, I guess somehow or another, it came to me that, well, if I'm going to, maybe what I should do if I'm going to go through all this stuff, maybe I should do some of the things I always meant to do. And one of them was I had always wanted to be a rescue person. I was an EMT up in Pennsylvania, but never really was with a squad. And I said, this town's got to have a rescue squad. Let me look into it, and I'll sign up. So I did. And I had to redo my training, had to get North Carolina certification. But okay, so I went to classes. It was a good way to meet people. The squad took me on as a beginner, so I wasn't necessarily in charge of anything, but I was there to help and to learn the ropes, get to know the town a little since I really knew nothing about it. And there you go. So I'd spend a lot of time at the squad, go out on runs when they had them, and they had usually, that squad probably, certainly at least 10 a day, and as many, I'm sure they had days where they had 30 calls. Busy place. They took care of the whole county. So that's 300. Back then, that was 300 or so thousand people, and all sorts of people passing through. So, so anyway, one thing, I was broke, had absolutely, absolutely no money whatsoever, and whatever I did have would go to you know eating or child support, that kind of thing. So dating was kind of a no. So the big thing also was is that I didn't have the money for a TV. I know TVs aren't that much money, but I couldn't buy it. Didn't have enough. And so I'd quite often I'd just I'd sit and read, or I had an old record player. I'd listen to records, or I'd just go out, and walk around and stuff. So anyway, the Super Bowl comes up, and I always enjoyed watching the Super Bowl, but no TV. And so I'm sitting there kind of feeling sorry for myself, like Saturday night before the Saturday night before the big game. Like I said, it's going to be the Steelers again, the Cowboys, and I honestly, I didn't know what to do. I certainly couldn't go to a bar and sit there and not buy anything. My God, I'd get my throat slit by the barkeep. But then all of a sudden it hit me. Hey, wait a minute! They got a beautiful TV at the Squad Hall. I know. I'll put on the uniform. I'll go in, offer to help, and they wouldn't mind anyway if I just went down to watch the game. But in this case, if I'm on for duty, they'll be happy for that. And so off I went. I showed up. Oh, I don't know. It was around 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Already all hell had broken loose in town. Oh, there was one thing after another going on. Car crashes, chest pains, people barfing all over the place, from Saturday night. Maybe one or two people woke up dead. It was a typical day, very busy. And I no sooner said, hey, I'm here. Could I maybe report? Yes, you can report for duty. Get into ambulance 4. They're heading out on a run. Car wreck out on Route 42, east of town this time, east of town. Then we got one for you. When you're done with that, we got one on 42 west of town. I said, okay. And off we went. And it was a blur of activity, which was in a way kind of good because it got me, one thing when you're down in the dumps, my advice would be, if you can take that kind of thing, join a rescue squad, a fire company or something. Because as bad as you feel, there's always someone feeling a whole lot worse. And helping that person kind of helps you feel better. Okay, so I applied that technique, and frankly, it did help me. So anyway, we're running, just running like crazy. We managed to get a hamburger down at the Hardee's, and that was about it. And it was getting closer to game time. I think game time was like 3 o'clock. We're running. Oh my God, so much stuff going on. And we I remember saying to one of the people I was running with that day, I said, God, Shelton, I think was his name. I said, Shelton, God, we're going to see the Super Bowl. He says, man, I don't know. God, he said, I want to see it too. See them Steelers beat Dallas, something awful, man. Oh God, I want to see that. And well, anyway, we come flying in. It's about 15 more minutes for the national anthem and the flyover. Yeah. And all of a sudden, the dispatcher says, well, boys, you can rest a minute or two anyway. So far, don't look like there's much of anything. There was one fella I think wanted to be taken out to Raleigh to the hospital out there, but now I don't know. He's saying he doesn't want to go. So you fellas may just go relax. I'll call you when the phone rings. Don't you worry. And he said, okay. And so we go into the break room and turn on the TV. It's the pregame, little bit of pregame stuff about the Super Bowl. I don't know. I think who was that? That would have been Terry Bradshaw, running the Steelers at that point, or the quarterback, I guess. And and of course the Cowboys are, doing their kind of thing, and then all of a sudden here comes the national anthem, the flyover, and the game's on. So heck, we all sit down. We figure, well, we'll get a call soon. And we're watching. Finally, I don't know, somewhere there was like a timeout. And I think Shelton said to me, he says, hey, why don't you go look and see see if our dispatcher's still breathing. He said, we were so busy now, it's nothing. I go running into the dispatcher room. How you doing? He said, fine, I'm watching the game. He had his own TV. He says, boy, it's a good game. Yeah. I said, you don't have the phone unplugged, do you? He says, no. No, sir, I wouldn't do that. He says, you may as well go on back there and watch. You got a bigger TV. You can sit here with me if you want. But no, I said, I'll go watch that big TV. It kind of feels good. Sit down a minute. And we're watching and cheering and screaming. Of course, I'm going for the Steelers. That didn't make me too popular. And but back and forth. The halftime show comes on. I think it was a salute to the Caribbean. Yeah, go figure. We were watching that bunch of people shaking maracas and stuff, and we go into the second half. No calls. Let's put it this way, friends: the whole darn game, not one call, nothing. Sitting there scratching my head. But again, we went in a few times. Just we made the dispatcher swear an oath that he didn't unplug the phone. He says, no, sir. He said, I did not. He says, you want to call me? You go ahead. Well, no, we're too busy watching the game. He says, well, that's what I thought. And he says, I think people's just watching the game. He says, it's going to break loose as soon as the game's over. You boys better be ready. And long story short, I got to see the whole darn Super Bowl. Yep, with my friends cheering and yelling. No, I didn't have enough money to bet. I mean, what if I lost? They'd kill me. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pay them. So I just, I couldn't believe it. Eventually, the game's almost over. We're all on our feet screaming and yelling. I think it was a close game. 35 for the Steelers, 31 for the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, that's a nail biter. And and here comes the night duty crew. They're saying, well, so you guys been running all day? We said, no, since the Super Bowl, nothing. I said, I don't believe it. And we all agreed that when the game was finally over and the calls started coming in again, that Super Bowl is good for the health of the country. The entire country took a holiday. As soon as it was over, sure, all of a sudden the chest pain started, the drunk calls, the car crashes, knife fights out in the front lawn, stuff like that. But boy, while that game was on, quiet as a mouse. Yes, and that was almost totally unheard of in that county. You pretty much could bet that in a 3 or 4 hour time span something would happen. But no. Like I said, we were busy for a while thereafter, but I was free to go home, which I did. Slept like a baby. Anyway, so there you go. Remember that tomorrow, okay? We'll catch you later, and Doc South signing off for now. God bless.